live in Connecticut, but for my early years, I lived in a small town of Barkhamsted. It's is truly a beautiful area year-round, and I'm blessed to have lived there. Just the thought of being up there makes me nostalgic. However, no peaceful country town is without its local legends. It begins when I was young, late preschool in fact. Now I know everyone's already thinking I remember this wrong, but my family members also remember this event. Anyways, when I was young, my family used to like to take me down trailblazing, and we would go down abandoned roads and forge new paths through the woods behind our property. On the edge of the three towns, Barkhamsted, Granby, and Heartland, is a road known as Broad Hill Road. It was always labeled as a no outlet path. But one day after going to the library in Granby, my grandmother decided we should take her Subaru Outback and go trailblazing and see where the road ends. It started out nice, a few houses which were fairly nice. We kept going up the steep slope until the road eventually turned to dirt. We drove through this road, which was more of a glorified muddy path in the middle of the woods, past a sign for Weed Hill Road, parked, and started trailblazing. We looked around for a bit, slicing through vines like we were on an expedition. Eventually we found that there were the ruins of an old bridge, and as the sun started to set, we got back into our car and headed home, finding that the dirt path came out on the back end of a farm. Amazed that it went through, we decided to go and tell the family back home about our findings. After a home-cooked meal, my mom and aunt and my uncle all decided to head out once more as they wanted to see Weed Hill Road for themselves. Mind you, they were all practically college students still. I was born when my mom was very young. Never mind that, leading my first trailblazing expedition was an amazing feeling. So when we arrived at Brood Hill Road, the sun had already set. So when we reached the woodsy dirt path, we had to have our headlights on and stay in the car due to the abundance of wild animals in the area. Now let me preface that my uncle is a prankster. He loves to mess with people to make me laugh. So when we reached Weed Hill Road and saw an abandoned truck, my uncle gets out of the truck seat and picks up a stick. He pokes the passenger side door and keeps saying, "Knock, knock," and "Hey, it's cold out here." My family is losing it laughing, myself included. However, all that changes when a chill runs up my spine. There's no abandoned truck in that area in the time that my family was having dinner. This truck was parked in front of the washed out bridge. I tap my mom on the shoulder and tell her. Then she yells for my uncle to get out of there because there's probably some kids doing drugs in the car or doing some other unsavory acts. So he does. He gets back into Grandma's Subaru Outback. But then he has one more trick up his sleeve. "I'm gonna high beam him," he chuckles, to the disarray of my aunt, his girlfriend at the time, who tells him to stop messing with the poor teens probably sitting in the car. Yet my uncle flips on the high beams, only for us to be met with three people that slowly sit up in the front of the seats of the abandoned truck, and a third leading in from the back. Now I say people with quotes because these two men were not human, at least not anymore. Instead of faces, they had three vertical fleshy folds running up and down their faces. My aunt screams in terror, "What the hell are those things?" My uncle just keeps laughing as he mutters to himself, "What kind of drugs are they on?" My mom and I just sat in the back seats watching. I wasn't scared, more so interested in what was wrong with these people. As we sat there in a stare down with the faceless things, they slowly started to sway in a circle motion in their seats, which evolved into a thrashing faster, faster, and faster. "Drive," my mom yells, and my uncle steps on it, throwing it in reverse as the car backs up and hits a rock. We probably hit 70 miles per hour getting to the farm on the other end of the road. Yet when we pull into the main road, my mom says she wants to get out and check the car for damages, as we were still in my grandma's Subaru Outback. So we pulled off the road only to realize that the right mud flap on the back had fallen off. So that's what the rock did to the car. Great. My mom says we have to go back or Grandma is going to be pissed. After the adults shared some words, we headed back up to Broad Hill Road in the pitch black night. When we arrived on the dirt path crossroads of Broad and Weed Hill, we found that the truck had vanished without any tire tracks. This only added to the confusion as my aunt got out and grabbed the mud flap. She hopped back into the car and we sped off, more carefully though. We encountered a group of hikers with a dog back near the farm. We asked them if they had seen any other cars, which they replied no. Either this car had driven off in the other direction and left no tire tracks, or completely vanished. Alas, we arrived home, all still a little shaken, with the mud flap in hand, and got out of the car. My mom and I stopped, though. Deep in the woods, we hear something scampering, something big that was moving around quickly on all fours. Then we hear it, a scream, then another, and another. Women screaming as if they were being killed out there. I started to cry. We were all the way across Barkhamstead, and now there were many things in the woods. My mom says to me, "It's mostly like a fisher cat. Don't cry." I nod and sniffle. Fisher cats are rare around here, but not unheard of. And they do scream like that. Then the crickets go silent. Everything goes silent. As a woman's voice is carried on the wind, "Don't cry," it mocks. But only I heard it, as my mom led me inside. Slowly, the forest that surrounded our family mountain home regained its regular sounds. I wake up earlier than usual, around 6 a.m. For 4-year-old me, that was unheard of. I look out the big window facing our backyard and see a strange thing circle underneath the window. I rush downstairs to find my grandpa at the glass porch door. "What's wrong, Grandpa?" I ask. He doesn't look away from the window. "Tell me you saw it, son." I nod. "What was it?" My grandpa looks at me, his pupils reflecting the sunrise light. It had the ears of a cat, but the muzzle of a dog. It was too big to be any of the neighborhood dogs or cats, probably between the size of a big wolf and a small bear. It was covered in all black fur, too. He steps forward towards me. "Nothing to worry about. It's gone now, and it won't return." He sits down at the TV in his recliner. "The fact that it was here is our secret. Don't go telling people. How about some bacon for breakfast?" All these years later, I think we encountered something pure evil that night on Weed Hill Road. Faceless men that followed us home, revealing their true form of a twisted black animal. I believe that we encountered that what we encountered was a hellhound or many. The three men turning into a dog that could not be comprehended, following us home with the sounds of screams and scampering. I think there is something bad out there, and if you wish to venture out there, good luck.